Hello and thanks for joining us again. Our summer wouldn't have been complete here in the County Executive's office without our Summer Rise students. The annual mentorship program allows more than 700 Montgomery County Public School students to see what the working world is like. Throughout July, we've had many students attending police, county council, and other activities, learning the ins and outs of Montgomery County government, the functions of each department, and how they interact. In the County Executive's office, we've hosted 4 RISE participants: Giselle Barrios from Blair High School, Michael Segaye from Poolesville, who worked with our administrative staff, as well as Sophia Stern from Blair High School and Tamaya Pulliam from Sherwood High School, who worked with our communications staff and who interviewed me this week. I want to thank all our RISE participants who've worked with us over this past month. I also want to express my appreciation to the MCPS staff and administration for offering this program. I encourage everyone to look for ways to mentor, uplift, and provide all of our students educational and professional opportunities. Together, we can ensure that our students are career ready and prepared to fulfill their goals. Another successful partnership with MCPS is Ignite Hub at Montgomery College. Ignite Hub has become our area's new home for coding and information technology education. Ignite Hub is an extension of the Montgomery Can Code program. Every year, business leaders from our community give their time to help middle school students on summer break use their time away from the classroom to learn how to build apps and show future leaders how companies incorporate programs and technology into their business plans. This year, it's Advancing Synergy, Lion Solutions, MOC One Solutions, United Solutions, Washington Software, and Brothers Academy, sharing their expertise and experience. We thank them for helping our MCPS students understand the importance of the computer skills. I'm also proud of the initiative shown by every one of this summer's Montgomery Can Code participants. There are more than 1,000 students in the program, and we can't wait to see these lessons put into practice in the years ahead. We know that we couldn't have gotten companies like Apple on board for a project like this without the excessive programs like Montgomery Can Code. I also want to thank Montgomery County Council for the special appropriation they made just this week to spend $260,000 from the general fund to support the Ignite Hub. This past weekend, we felt the heat of the summer in full force. It was so hot that the National Weather Service issued a heat advisory that stretched 3 days. If those extreme temperatures return, which is likely, please know that we offer our library branches and recreation centers as places to go with air conditioning as a respite from the heat. Take extra precautions if you work or spend long amounts of time outdoors. When possible, reschedule strenuous activities to the early morning or late evening. Know the signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion and heat stroke, which include shortness of breath, feeling lightheaded, nausea or vomiting, headache, flushed skin. Young children and pets should never be left unattended in the vehicle for any length of time. Make sure the children, pets, and the elderly have access to air conditioning or plenty of cool water. Earlier this week, Montgomery County crossed a key parameter, taking Montgomery County's community level status from medium to high. Our case counts continue to hover around 250 cases per 100,000 residents. The percent of staffed inpatient beds devoted to COVID patients in the county is now at 10%, and the hospital admission rate is 12.7 people per 100,000 people. In March, we were down to less than 50 cases per 100,000 residents. Both hospitalization figures were less than half of what they are today. If you feel sick, get tested. If you need a test, stop at any of our library branches to pick up free COVID tests. If you're exposed to someone who tests positive, isolate until you can test yourself. If you test positive, prepare for at least 5 days of isolation minimum, and I recommend staying in isolation until you've tested negative again. Another important recommendation, because the community level status is high, is to wear a mask indoors in public places and on public transportation. The CDC says it's a good preventative measure to slow the spread of the virus. It's why you can still pick up free N95 masks at any library and some community centers across Montgomery County. Please protect yourself and stay up to date with your vaccines and boosters. Let's do everything we can to slow the spread and not put people's lives in danger. Montgomery County has reopened its portal for more COVID-related rental relief. It's been almost a month since the window closed on the latest round of rental relief grants. available to those who are 2 months or more behind on their rent because of a COVID-related reason. As expected, there was a rush to get applications in before the end of June, with 1,157 applications being delivered just under the deadline. In just 45 days, more than 4,000 applicants sought assistance. We are still processing those applicants, but you should know they're not being done as a first-come, first-served basis. We're still assessing how best to spend the $25 million available in aid. Sadly, we're seeing some people who didn't apply come to us now with eviction notices. We're trying to help them in any way we can in order to prevent their eviction. Please call 311 for more information about whether you qualify, how to check on the status of an application, or how to start and continue an application that was not completed and submitted. This week, the County Council heard testimony from more than a dozen speakers who talked about the challenges they face if their rents go up substantially, as some landlords and property managers have indicated they would do. During my media briefing this week, we heard from Matt Losek, Executive Director for Montgomery County Renters Alliance, who shared stories about exorbitant rent increases as high as 50 to 90%. Other renters are finding out that after years of living in the same place, that their leases won't be renewed, which is why we've been pushing to pass just cause eviction at the state level. Enormous rent increases and arbitrary lease terminations threaten family stability. My proposal would set limits for rent increases at 4.4% for 6 months. We must make sure that people living in buildings most vulnerable for redevelopment are protected. People making the least amount of money can't be priced out of their homes. Middle-income renters can't be expected to all of a sudden devote so much of their money budget to housing, and my proposal would provide for reasonable increases. The earliest the Council can act on this proposal now is September, when they return from break. I hope they will act as soon as they return, and I appreciate Councilmember Giwando's support for this effort. With every month that passes without legislative action, more residents are at risk of losing their homes. There may be some people who are philosophically opposed to rent limits, but I have a philosophical problem with displacing people and causing homelessness. Also this week, the County Council heard discussion for the first time of my plan for new building electrification standards. If passed, the bill would enact those new laws by 2024. The initiative complements Green Building Code and the Building Energy Performance Standards known as BEPS, which passed earlier this year. Together, these initiatives will revamp the building sector, which is a major contributor to greenhouse gases. Natural gas would only be allowed in special circumstances when new construction or major renovation is being considered. Older technologies would be replaced with things like electric heat pumps, electric water heating equipment, or electric cooking elements. Making this move makes financial sense for families. Experts say energy prices will continue to rise because costs are up by an average of 50%. Coal, natural gas, and crude oil are all costing customers more compared to 2021. Energy costs will be cemented in place with the passage of Bill 1322, laying a smart framework for the future. We await the Council's decision in September. Finally, I want to acknowledge an important date coming up next week for our community's law enforcement agencies. National Night Out is happening Tuesday, August 2nd. It brings together neighbors, community safety advocates, and the patrol officers who work their neighborhoods. When everyone is in the neighborhood is on the same page, it helps communication, which can help solve cases and limit the number of victims when there are rashes of burglaries, for example, or vandalism or worse. These neighborhood parties are happening all over Montgomery County next Tuesday, from Silver Spring to Olney, Germantown to Rockville, and many places in between. You can check out MCPD's website for a full list of National Night Out events. Have a great week and look forward to seeing you again next week.